What is going on, guys? DBG here, and lads, there was a huge patch for my team, and in this video we're going to be talking about what the patch has done. It's in general what it has done for cards. I was about to say where did I lose 40k MT, but I forgot I invested in a lot of players. So anyway, let's take a look. So this is our squad right here. So we've got a dribbler in Steve Francis. We're going to show Peyton. I'm just going to show off a couple of things here. Where's D-Rose? Do I not have Ruby D-Rose? I need to go and buy a Ruby Derrick Rose just so I can show you guys what's happened to Rose. So Derrick Rose obviously was he was the best for doing this. Like, the Rose size up was a thing for a reason. Again, it doesn't even matter what version of Rose I use. I'll use a 750 Rose. Pay 750 for that one. Just so you guys can see the Derrick Rose size up, which is obviously one of the things that got patched. Probably the biggest thing that got patched today. So there was a patch to a couple of things, and one of the big things that got patched was the dribbling. A lot of people are complaining about that. Another thing that got patched was the mashing. So now a lot of people are saying, oh, paint mashing's still there, paint mashing's still there. Because they'll go into the key and it's just bang, 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 paint mash, 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 mash. And eventually someone will go up and score. The difference, how paint mashing was nerfed was that if you start mashing, it's not basically a guaranteed basket. You will miss way more. You'll miss way more now than you ever did before. So that is one thing. You guys saw the burst there being like, oh, I thought that 2K stopped all speed bursting. They did out of certain dribbling. You can no longer speed burst sideways or speed burst backwards. So if you try to speed burst sideways, this will happen. If you try to do any sort of sideways, or if you try to like trigger an animation into a backward speed burst, your player will slow down. But if you are forward, quick or shifty bursting, it's the exact same. As somebody who didn't really left right too much, like when I was left righting, I was kind of left righting at these angles. Like, I was left righting badly. Things like that. That's what I was doing. Like, if you were asking me what I thought I was doing was left righting, it turns out what I was doing wasn't left righting. Because my whole thing was I would always go forward. I would always go forward with these. I would stop doing some sort of snatchback or some sort of animation, and then I would consistently go forward with that. But now, obviously, you can't do that. So that is a huge thing, not being able to speed burst left or right. So D-Rose, the player that is most affected by this, because D-Rose left, you used to literally, like, you used to be able to get this D-Rose burst and go left, right, left, right, left, right, and you could not stop it. You cannot left, right anymore. But at the same time, if you are trying to quick or shifty burst in a straight line, obviously no quick first step, so you look slower here. If you want to do it going towards the basket, that's fine. So nothing's been patched in terms of going to the basket. Like, quick first step, people are saying, oh, it seems less effective. I don't think I've noticed much of a difference. I really haven't noticed too much of a difference. But now, I think the Scotty behind the back seems super OP. They said they fixed the stutter on as well, which is interesting. I think the Scotty behind the back rim running is going to be the new meta. Like, remember back in NBA 2K20? I think we're going to see that as the new meta. I think we're going to see a lot more of calling a screen when you're here. Dribble, 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 dribble behind the back, deep hash, go right to the basket, dunk. That's what I think is going to become the new meta. Because 3 hunting has taken a huge hit. Because it's very, very hard. There's no specific dribble style nowadays that you can consistently 3 hunt with. Because 3 hunting involves you going backwards and sideways. Or sideways. Like, that is a thing. And like fundamental dribble style, I think Ty was saying, oh, he thought fundamental had a bad burst. Like, fundamental feels the same for me. Like, it was hard to get burst out of fundamental anyway. You can still get, well, my favorite burst with Harden was this. That into a burst. Like, you can still get that same burst. You can still get a lot of the fundamental bursts. Yeah, fundamental is the exact same. As long as you are going forwards, every burst is the exact same. But if you are trying to go sideways, no, your player slows to a halt. So it's essentially the same thing as they did with the walk back. They just made it so that, remember, like with the walk back, you can no longer, your player walks at a snail's pace backwards. And now your player, if they're moving sideways, runs at a snail's pace. So basically, the only direction where you can move at speed in is straight. Like, people are going to find ways of changing direction with speed. And I think a lot of that becomes full court dribbling. I think half court dribbling is going to take a tough spot. So for me, something that I know that works really well if you want to change direction is if somebody's like guarding you with Harden and you set the screen going middle, and you can very easily change direction there with that behind the back. Like, that's probably the quickest way to change direction. It's like, I know you can obviously, you can, again, burst in a straight line. If you want to, I'm trying to think, can you go directly horizontally with the Harden behind the back? Not really. Like, they're the type of things I think we're going to see from players using a lot more. But, yeah, like, do I think it's going to change the game that much? It all depends on how you play it. If you were a 3-hunter, yeah, it is. Like, if you were somebody that, like, your whole game was based on dancing around screens, you're going to have to find different ways. So, like, the Curry slide's going to be used way more now. Like, you're going to be seeing things like Harden bursts and going forwards. You're going to be seeing, instead of coming off screens going sideways, you're going to be having to see, like, making reads off screens from further away from the basket. So, for me, it's not going to change a slightest bit the way I play the game. Like, as someone who uses a lot of forward momentum, everything I do is going forward, whether that's post spins, whether it's behind the back dribbles. Normally, whereas most people do like to attack horizontally to 3-hunt off pick and rolls, I almost exclusively attack downhill off pick and rolls. Not going to affect me. But the players that it's going to affect are the 3-hunters. It really is. So, I wouldn't be like, if I were you guys, I wouldn't be that shocked or be that, like, upset about this. Because, like, look, you can still do this. And you can still do that into a shot. Drive to the basket. You can still do ridiculous stuff like this. Into speed bursts and go by people. Obviously, I just shot it very late there because I'm looking at the wrong screen. But what you can't do anymore is burst to the side. Like, that into a side doesn't work. But that into straight, does he feel a little bit slower? Yeah, he does. I think this is a goal quick for step for Steve Francis. Trying to think, do I have any half quick first step players that I can... I don't think I have any half quick first step players that I can mess around with. But like, if you're going forward, you can still burst. A lot of people are saying, oh, it kills 5 out. No, it doesn't. Like, who runs sideways on 5 out? Like, what people do on 5 out is they use a burst to go by the defender. You can still go by the defender. What you can't do as effectively anymore is this. That's slower. That animation is slower. And now we're going to go into current gen just to see a little bit. Okay, we still have 4 minutes left on our update on current gen. And I think the updates are pretty much the same. Like, you can no longer, like, snatch back and blow by the AI. And, like, look, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Your player's moving slightly slower. People are going to figure out other ways to score. It's not the end of the world. Like, I wasn't a fan of people just sprinting left to right, to left to right, to left to right, and you can't guard them. Like, people just going, like, doing this. This is literally all people used to do. Bam, left. Bam, right. Bam, left. Bam, right. And then as soon as you got creamed by a screen, they would just shoot and score. So, like, I'm happy. I'm happy with the way this thing is. Because there are still enough ways to score. Like, it's not like they really patched. It's not like they patched speed bursting. Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, they patched speed bursting. Like, they patched speed bursting in one direction. Is it annoying? Because as you guys can sell there, like, I was trying to get to the basket and accidentally triggered the slow side animation. It will be annoying. But I mean, it was an exploit and they needed to do something to nerf it. Like, they needed to. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And now we're going to be talking about the players that this is going to harm. A player that is going to be essentially useless right now is Stephen Curry. It is going to really harm Stephen Curry. And to an extent, Trae Young's, because the way Trae Young moves is different, because Trae Young's at the Trace game. Curry still got the Curry slide, but the way people are running with Curry going side to side, that's just not going to happen anymore. Someone like a Gary Payton, it's not going to affect because he's rim running. But guys that I think it makes better are the Gary Paytons of the world. They're defensive players. And in its turn, this is the best point guard in the game, and it's not even close right now. Like, this guy is the best point guard in my team, and until for quite a while, he might be. Like, I think I might just go and buy a penny. Like, I'm considering just saying, F this, I'm just buying Penny Hardaway. Because Penny Hardaway can rim run. The post spin becomes more effective than ever because it's basically guaranteed to go by somebody. Like, I'm going to buy a penny because... You know what, screw it. I don't care enough about this game to spend 40 KMT on a card in November. Because he becomes the #1 point guard in the game. Because the lack of clamps... The lack of clamps is actually going to be more of a problem because people are going to have to be more direct. So offense is going to be... You're going to have to be more direct in your offense. If you're using a screen, you're going to have to run downhill. If you are looking to 3-hunt, you're going to have to start from... You're going to have to go at angles. Instead of going side to side, you're going to have to attack at least forward in a way. People would figure out ways of scoring. But I think that for a lot of people using the likes of Steph, Trae Young, I think because he has slashers, Trae Young is just might be immune to this. I think Steph's going to struggle a lot. I think a lot of these 3-hunters are going to struggle. I actually think Iverson's going to really struggle. I think that new Iverson level 40 is going to really struggle. Because of Francis's dunking, because of Smart's defense, Peyton's defense, because of Ja Morant, De'Aaron Fox's dunking, I think they're going to be okay. Cards that can dunk well are going to be okay. Cards who have the Pro 3 behind the back are going to be okay. Because you can, like, rim run with those guys. Cards that have not good full court dribble sigs are going to be the ones that are going to take the biggest hit. Quick and shifty is no longer the be all and end all now. But guys with half quick for step are going to struggle as well. It's going to be an interesting thing. It is going to be a really, really interesting thing. I think inside centers, will they be the move? No, I don't think it's really going to affect our team building. But I think there are going to be a few guys like the Steph Currys. I think the undersized players is going to take a hit. I think they're going to take a huge hit, those undersized players. And if you are someone running a Steph Curry, let me know how you're getting on with him today. Because obviously he's still going to be usable. I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of success with Steph Curry, but I think those guys, until someone figures out a new way of getting open, I think it's going to be a struggle using them. So yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. That is pretty much it. So if you're wondering whether or not the burst is still in the game, I mean, it still is. Like, you can still burst forward. You really can still burst forward. I can even see in the replays, like, you well and truly can burst forward in this game if you want to, but it's just obviously not going to be as effective. It's just obviously not going to be as effective as it once was. And if you're trying to go side to side, good luck to you. Zigzagging. 2K have killed the zigzagging. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.